Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with the Maths Mess. It is Wednesday night / Thursday morning, so y'all know what time it is. It is time for Married at First Sight. This is the review for season 14, episode 7. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to join the family. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. And if you have been back and you have not yet subscribed, then please give me a chance because you keep on coming back. Don't hesitate to hit that notification bell so that you will be updated each and every time I upload a video. Now, child, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. When the episode first opens up, day 7 of marriage. The couples are headed back to Boston. They arrive at the shared apartment. And everybody's looking around and whatnot. And Olajuwon, stop climbing on this bed in these airport clothes, okay? Oh my gosh, I almost peeled my skin off. I was like, oh, child, please tell him don't get on that bed in them airport clothes. Oh, no, ma'am. Lindsay and Mark. So they're in the shared apartment, hopefully sans bed bugs. I would not bring those suitcases anywhere near my home. Shared apartment or not, paying for it or not. They're not coming in. So Lindsay was like, well, let me get your clothes so I can throw them in the wash. Yeah, and then burn that suitcase, okay, and everything that's with it. So she throws some things in the wash, and Mark said he hopes living together won't be too much because she's a lot, 24 hours a day. I have not seen as much energy as Lindsay has since my son was about 1 year old. That girl got some energy. It's too much. It's too much. These two instantly hop into bed, and it's hot and whatnot. Mark is full of bugs. He might not be full of bugs, but in my mind, he full of bugs, child. This is a brand new apartment. If y'all don't adjust that air, honey, laying up in here in the heat, I don't know if this is a Lindsay thing. I don't know if she's sweating away the pounds. Y'all remember that old school workout tape, Sweating Away the Pounds? I don't know if that's what Lindsay is doing or what, but Lindsay, every time you go somewhere, you turn the heat on hell. I'm going to need you to adjust the AC so Mark don't sweat. Girl, what is wrong with you? Moving forward. Katina and Olajuwon. So he's discovering the kitchen like Christopher Columbus, and he's like, oh, this is where all the magic really happens. Oh, this is legit. So when you going to go shopping? When are you going to go shopping? What are you going to do? Ugh. Olajuwon get on my nerves sometimes. He really does. So in her confessional, she said it's really going to be a major adjustment because she's never lived with a boy before. So he wants to role play, honey. Not the sexy kind of role play, but the one where he plays a husband and she plays in the kitchen, cooking a meal. I was like, oh my God, girl, please do not engage. I would have said, boy, I'm not about to play preschool kitchen. I'm not about to do that. Okay, I'm a grown woman. If I'm gonna whip you up some, I'm gonna whip you up some. If I'm not, then I'm not. And that's that on that. Moving forward. She said, look, in her confessional, I'm used to going to the restaurants to get my food and my meals, but he's made it very clear that he wants home-cooked meals every day. Nobody is cooking home-cooked meals every single day. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. Now, 4 days a week, tops. This is what I used to do in my marriage. I will cook for you 5 days a week, but on the weekends, she rests. Okay, you better fend for yourself. I don't care what y'all eat. I don't care if y'all eat lint out of your pockets. I'm not cooking. It won't happen. I will order in. I will order out. There will be some ordering to be done, but I ain't gonna be cooking nothing. Okay, not 7 days a week. That is a lot, and you gotta work. And then what if you have children? That's just too much, child. Olajuwon wants a Stepford wife. That's exactly what he wants. He wants somebody from the 60s with their hair pent up, with these little white kitten heels on and an apron with the lace on the side of it. It's not happening, Captain. He's like, oh, I'm gonna be all on your back. She's like, are you gonna be texting me like, what's for dinner? He said, no, I'm just gonna expect it. And again, Olajuwon, you watch too much TV. She said, well, you know what? I promised to put my best foot forward and have you a meal every day. Now, she ain't say where the meal was coming from, and she ain't fooling me. I was like, I know that's right, Katina. Promise them nothing, okay? That was a little play on words. Well, I promised to put my best foot forward and make sure that you have meals. And she ain't say where the meals were coming from. She just promised to have you a meal. I know that's real. He has unrealistic expectations, though. And Katina, you will not be able to keep up all this cooking 7 days a week. So set the expectation now. Say, listen, I'm not going to be able to keep up with 7 days a week, and I'm not going to be the only one cooking. We live here together. This is 2022. If you want 1962, then we can see if some of your grandma friends are available. But other than that, honey, you're going to be helping me as well. I really think that Olajuwon has these gender roles in his mind, and he feels like, me Tarzan, you Jane. It doesn't work like that, Olajuwon. You are really getting on my nerves, child. Steve and Noi. They got on my nerves a little bit this episode too. Everybody really gave a little mixture of getting on my nerves today. So we're going to get into that. Noi's worried about them living together and if he's going to like her little quirks. And they get into bed and Noi starts talking about her dog, Sushi, sleeping in the bed with them. Noi, that's a no. Okay? It's an absolutely hell no. There's no reason that the doggy shouldn't be in the doggy bed. No, ma'am. I do not do animals in the bed. Absolutely not. Steve is like, let's just build him a little something right here. Steve said, no, ma'am, honey. You're going to have to put that dog on the side. Chris and Alyssa. Oh, Lord. He said, she made the decision not to move in. So he did because he made the commitment. And he said he heard through the grapevine that there were some rumblings of why she wasn't all in. He said, politics and things that were said from my family and my friends. He said she told me to be straightforward with her and come to her about it, but I can't because I don't even know her number. Oh, Chris, I got her number. I can tell you her number. It's 666. Moving forward, Michael and Jasmina. Baby, let me tell y'all something. Honey, I don't know who's the problem. And this couple right here, I really don't know. But I'm going to tell you what I do know is that something is not right about Michael. And he ain't fooling me. Now let's get into it. So he asked her how she feels about them. And she's like, you mean like living together? He said, yeah. She said, well, my current roommate is a guy. So I'm used to living with a man every day. She said, the only difference is we go to our own separate bedrooms. She said, what about you? Have you ever lived with a woman? Let me repeat that. She said, what about you? Have you ever lived with a woman? Let me repeat that again for the people in the back listening to the review. She said to him, what about you? Have you ever lived with a woman? Inch High Private Eye looked right at her and said, no, never. Like, that's new territory for me. Really? Okay, let's continue. So then they asked each other about where they're staying. She's like, are you staying here tonight? He was like, yeah, I'm staying here tonight. And he's saying that he's staying there, but she's going to stay at her place to figure out her doggy daycare. All right, we got another Zach and codependent dog on our hands. Jasmina. Jasmina sneaking off like Zach. Oh, child, I cannot. Girl, you do not need to stay at the house to figure that out. That doesn't make any sense. Girl, give me a break. She's like, I'm just happy for the alone time, to just get back into my routine. He, on the other hand, is like, that's not good. Like, I don't want you to be leaving every time we get into something. You go and want to sleep somewhere separate. Like, that's not going to be good for our marriage. This is a marriage. And I totally agree with that. So she was like, well, I'm not moving in for the first couple of days. And that isn't because I need space. It's just to figure things out with Feeny. I want y'all to hear that again. I'm not moving in for the first couple of days because I need space. It's because of Feeny. All right. I just want y'all to listen to that because I am going to reference that in just a minute. Well, this is some BS, quite frankly. This is really some BS. I don't know what kind of things Feeny needs, but you knew you were going to be married before you left here. So wherever Feeny is, Feeny needs to stay. And that's that on that. Girl, you don't like this man. Honey, it's the Alyssa effect. You really do not like this man. Moving forward. He's like, well, I hope we can start off on a great foot. This is not what I envisioned my first night back in Boston. Baby, she is playing in his face. Do y'all hear me? She ain't even kiss him when she left. She's like, make sure you keep the house clean. She is happy as hell to get out of there. Do y'all hear me? She's going to go home, get into her pajamas, eat her food in the middle of her bed, listen to her K-pop, and watch her K-drama. Moving forward. It's the first morning, waking up in the new apartment. We get a glimpse of each couple. Mark and Lindsay are brushing their teeth, and Shark is brushing his teeth and having a full-on shark attack. Then Dr. Viviana says, the couples who don't move in together have a much rougher road ahead of them, but they don't want to, force them to do anything. They just hope they realize that it hurts them more than it helps. There should be a clause where you cannot leave. You know what I'm saying? Once you move in with your spouse, you have to stay with your spouse. Steve and Noi. It's time to visit their apartments. So Steve goes to Noi's tiny home to meet her dog Sushi. Lord, this place is so tiny. Noi got to go outside to change her wig and her mind. Oh, child. So Steve asked if the dog is house trained because he doesn't like, picking up the poop of it all. Y'all need a pooper scooper. Do they still make those? Child, because I'm not putting nothing on my hand to dig off and put up in no bag and then it'd be kind of squishy and it'd be smelling and whatnot. I'm not going to be able to do that. Absolutely not. Y'all need a pooper scooper. Noi said, well, the dog has 3 beds, but, he has one for over here and one for over there. Okay, so he has 3 beds, but you want him to sleep in between y'all. Noi, absolutely not. Steve is like, well, you don't think he could just sleep near us? That's an automatic no. Dogs in the bed, that is so gross. Now, to each his own, but for me and my house, we will not be sleeping with the canines head to foot. We will not be doing that. She's like, well, he just wants to be near me. Well, then you sleep in his bed. It's just nasty, child. Noi, you are being annoying with this dog stuff. Oh, that's disgusting. Lindsay and Mark. These two have on full-on hazmat suits, similar to what I wear to the grocery store these days and whatnot. And it's given very much per the CDC. So Lindsay said, are we touching things? Like, do we need gloves? He's like, no, I'm not touching anything. I'm just going to throw some clothes and some sneakers in a bag. Okay. Okay. She said, oh, okay. Well, unless you have magical powers, I believe there's some hands involved. Now, I know people don't like Lindsay, but baby, that was funny to me. Oh, that was funny to me. I'm like, I know that's right, Lindsay. What are you talking about, Mark? Honey, get yourself together. I wouldn't even go in if it were me. I just couldn't do it. I just could not. She was like, bed bugs are my biggest fears. I've gotten some of them myself from traveling, and it still haunts me. So they go in. This place looking like an Alfred Hitchcock Presents apartment. No wonder there are bugs. It's very creepy looking. So he's giving her a tour around this dorm room, but I'm itching just watching. Do y'all hear me, honey? It was the itchy and scratchy show. I could not do it. I would not want any tours, and none of that could go with me. Not nothing. So then Lindsay starts moving stuff around and sporadically breaking it. I'm like, you're breaking it on purpose so I don't have to go, and you ain't fooling me, okay? So they're talking, and they're throwing things into these bags. So Mark has the nerve to have an attitude at how Lindsay is packing up his things. He's like, I'm a very organized person. So throwing my things in trash bags, I don't like that. Well, Mark, however you like it, there's an infestation. So right now, these bags are appropriate, okay? Nobody is going to pack your things up and fold them and spend extra time in here because there is a bug problem. She's actually helping you. The woman wanted you out and she's helping you to get out. So be grateful she's there. Because you would have been mad at me. Honey, you would have been looking for me in the daytime with a flashlight. Do y'all hear me? I would have lit a match and burnt that place to the ground. Moving forward. Katina and Olajuwon, day 8 of marriage. They get to his place and he's like, can you imagine? Just wait a minute. Just stand back. Just stand back. Can you really just imagine this? Like kids running out. Daddy, mommy. Everybody's looking at us. No, I can't. Because I don't want to be living here when I'm pregnant. Okay? And that's that on that. Honey, we're going to have to get a place together. Absolutely not. So, Katina, honey, she going to go along to get along. Yeah, I can see it. Katina, is that still that same wig? That's my first question. Number 2, why are you just saying what and nodding and smiling and going along with whatever Olajuwon says? I don't like that for you. I don't know if this is something new. I don't know if this is what you do in every relationship. I don't know if you just conform to fit whatever man you are with at the moment, but let's have some independence. All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me. Shout out to DC3. Like, I'm just going to need you to be a little bit, I'm not saying don't love your husband, don't do things for your husband. I'm not saying that, but I don't want you to lose yourself like Eminem did. Shout out to Eminem. Moving forward. So he's like, I've never introduced a woman to my crib, not like this before. So he's nervous because he doesn't know if she's going to like his manly decor and all this. First stop on the tour, of course, is the kitchen. He's like, this is your style of kitchen? You like this? That kitchen is depressing. It's my grandma's style of kitchen. That's definitely, it's her style. So she's like, yeah, I wouldn't have that thing right there. Child, not these coffee curtains. She's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, well, I look at that every day. Well, you shouldn't, okay? And that's not something I will continue to say out loud. So then we see his gym. Uh-oh, Jacob. Uh-oh. Another maths man with a gym. Honey, it looks like a little competition. I'm just saying. He's like, you like this green? You like how I did this? Like, you like this? Olajuwon, why are you fishing for all these compliments? It's giving Love is Blind. Shout out to Shane. It's really giving that. And speaking of, why didn't we get to see Katina's place or Jasmina's place? Does Katina live at home with her mama? So in her confessional, she's like, this is definitely a bachelor pad. So after the tour, they go outside. He's like, so if you had to grade it like from a 1 to a 10, what would you say? She said, I would give it an 8. For decor, I would probably give it a 5. I'm sure it's a 3 at best. He's like, a 4? A 5? What is it for the curtain? She said, yeah, like, and I would paint in there, like I would paint it gray. He's like, no, that doesn't match. Nothing in there matches. So you're going to be fine. He's like, so do you know how much that's going to cost? She was like, what, like $50,000? Oh, child, I don't know what they're talking about. But bottom line is the place looks old. Okay. It looks dated. It looked like somebody moved in, left their decor from the 70s/80s, and you moved right on in. Moving forward. She said, I don't know what he's expecting, but I don't know how he expects me to live here if I can't change anything. Honey, I would definitely have to move into a mutual's place because Olajuwon is too controlling. He's too controlling already. You are never going to have a say or feel confident in that space. Same thing with last season when Rachel was about to move in with Jose and he was Jose. That's not a good idea. This situation and this type of man, you need to find something that the both of you move in together. Moving forward. In the next scene, Mark goes to visit Lindsay's pad and she's showing him her plants and whatnot. And then she's showing him around the place. So he picking apart everything. He's like, yeah, this is definitely your place. It's so Mother Earth. She's like, he keeps saying that this is so Lindsay, but what does that mean? Like, I just visited a bug-infested, dilapidated place. So if he judges me, then he's a dork. I know that's right, honey. I'm with Lindsay on that. Mark, welcome home, buddy. You have no place to talk about anything, okay? We literally had to run through your apartment with our eyes closed. Boy, please. Moving forward. In the next scene, Noi goes to visit Steve's place. Steve, whose Airbnb is this? No, I'm just messing with Steve. I like to give him a hard time. Child, so he shows her these LED lights everywhere. It's Christmas time. Everything lit up like Rockefeller Center. So he goes to the bedroom. He's setting the bedroom lights ablaze with these LED lights. He's like, yeah, so we can take the lights and we can fill up the apartment, or we can just get some new ones. Let's not and say we did. No sleeping in the bed with the doggies and no LED lights. That settles that. Jasmina and Michael. So they get to Michael's place. Baby, they get to Michael's place. And she admits that there was more to her wanting to go home. Well, duh. Honey, you got a little eye problem. You sat right there in this man's face and told him, you know, it's not about that. I just got to go figure out Phineas and Ferb or whatever the people's names is. Finny, honey. I got to go see if Finny is still finicky. You just wanted to get away. Okay. And now you're telling us it wasn't just about that. I just needed some space. Okay. And we knew that. So he's showing her around, right? He's showing her around this god awful apartment. And then he shows her this picture over his bed of a woman that's unclothed. Okay. And she was like, who is that? And he was like, oh, this? Oh, yeah, a friend drew it for me. This is not somebody I actually know. Sure it's not. So she's looking around. She was like, take me to your roommate's room. I need to see. So he looking all, conspicuous. So they're looking around and she's looking around. She's like, whose is that? He's like, that's my roommate's. Whose golf clubs are those? He was like, oh, those are my roommates. And so she's standing there. She's steady asking him questions about the roommate. So baby, then the door opens and a girl walks through. That girl wanted to be seen because, ma'am, we are filming, okay? And I know the film crew got there before they did. So therefore, and thus and such, you knew that we were filming, which meant that you wanted to be seen and you're not fooling me. So she was like, why didn't you mention that you lived with the girl? And you never really said anything about that. He's like, oh, okay, we never really talked about it. Flashback to them literally talking about it and her telling him that she lives with a guy. She's like, why didn't you mention that when I told you that I lived with a guy? Forget all that, honey. Forget all that, Jasmina. Give me just a second. He lied because he said he never lived with a woman. That would be new territory. What? Girl, oh my goodness, honey. That would piss me all the way off. Like, what are you hiding? I bet he living with that ex. I bet there is something that is not right. Because first of all, why does she sashay through there in the middle of their scene? Jasmina saw her. I think she handled herself rather well because had it been me, I would have had a full-on attitude. They would have had to cut. America would have hated me because I would have gone off, okay? Because I don't like when people just flat out lie to me. I asked you. Now, it would be different if I would have had a problem with it. I live with someone of the opposite sex. So you could have said to me, yeah, I live with a woman. Okay? That's all you had to say. He's like, yeah, okay, I live with a girl. She said, I'm annoyed with him because I'm trying to get over the other stuff, and then I find this out. Again, I would have been pissed, honey. Something is amiss. It really is. Mark and Lindsay. They get to the shared apartment and the cats are hissing and fighting, a lot like Lindsay. Moving forward. Jasmina and Michael. Baby, we back. So they get back to the shared apartment. And, she's trying to keep her cool and whatnot. And she's like, I have a question. I don't know if I heard you right, but did you say you lived with a woman? He said, did I say that? She said, oh, okay, so you live with 2 women? He's like, yeah, so, what? Like, you think I purposely didn't tell you? Yeah. Yeah, purposely didn't tell her. She said, well, you didn't tell me about the first one. Like, if we were just boyfriend and girlfriend and we were just dating, you weren't going to tell me that you lived with a woman? He said, well, it comes up when it comes up. She's like, but it came up. Production, roll that beautiful bean footage. Then we see when it actually came up. Sir, you blatantly lied. You got a little lying problem too. So he's like, it's not that I didn't want to tell you. I just didn't think that you would care. She's like, it doesn't bother me that you live with women because I live with a man. It bothers me that you didn't think it was important to tell me. She's like, you being in that space with females, that's important. So he's like, well, even if I didn't, what does that mean? Like, what am I trying to get away with? That's what we're trying to figure out. What are you trying to get away with? His attitude is really bothersome to me, and it's really starting to piss me off. He's like, that doesn't mean I'm trying to hide something. She says, that's what it seems like. It sure does. But my question is this. Why does everybody get back home and they've instantly turned into college freshmen with the roommates of it all? Honey, I was expecting Olajuwon to live in a frat house, and Olajuwon was living in a... Olajuwon was living in the old folks' home. Honey, I'm so confused by this season. I have absolutely no clue what I am watching. Ooh, child. He's like, okay, I give you that. It's a bad judgment call. There were times that I could have told you. And so she's just looking at him, right? So he goes, you're looking at me like you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. She said, I hear you, but what you're saying don't make no sense. Absolutely none. Moving forward. In the next scene, we see Lindsay giving us an update on Mark the Shark and all of the stress that he's under, how off camera he's not the same MTS. He's hiding he's cold. You're hot, then you're cold. Yes, then you're no. In, then you're out. Shout out to Katy Perry. Lindsay, he's going through a lot. A lot. You just said his grandmother is literally 70 pounds. He has to take care of his mother. He's an only child. He was kicked out of his place right before this happened. So, it's too much. It is just too much. Alyssa and Chris. Chris is giving us a little frisbee action. I'm sorry, disc golf. He's giving us a little disc golf. Nice wrist action, Chris. Nice wrist action. And then we see this heifer go sit down with her mama. So she shows up, right? And she tells her mom, I just blacked out. I literally blacked out walking down the aisle. Girl, you didn't black out. You're just trying to give an excuse for your awful behavior. So she's like, so what are your thoughts? She said, well, her mom goes, well, I was expecting a cowboy. In Boston? And Mom, I see where she get this from. Because you sat in Chris's face and told him that she liked him. Yet here you are telling her I was expecting a rhinestone cowboy. Ma'am, goodbye. She's like, yeah, me too. So then the mom goes, but he's cute and he's really nice. Alyssa sitting there looking stone-faced, honey, because we all know she does not think Chris is cute at all. Do y'all hear me? So Alyssa is like, well, you haven't even seen the way that he treats me. Like a spoiled, entitled princess, he treats you wonderfully. Actually better than you deserve. Because a lesser man would have hurt your feelings. Out here in the real world, Alyssa, there are not a lot of guys like Chris. Some of them will cut you up and go toe-to-toe with you. And that ain't what you want. Now, if you would have gotten another Chris, hence season 12, you would have been in tears, but real tears, when he got through asking for all the black queens and the Asian queens, and they gave him you. When he got through picking you apart, you would have been grateful for this Chris. You better call Paige and ask her. So then her mom was like, well, I only met him at the wedding. He seemed like a nice kid. Here go, Alyssa. No, but see, he likes to debate till the cows come home, and I learned so much about him. Child, she gonna find a way to mention livestock in reference to Chris if she don't do nothing else, honey. I guess anything to make him country. And you never got to know anything about him. So how would you know that? Chris is telling his friend on the other side that she said her psychic told her that he needs to have an eagle tattoo to be her match. His friend said, please stop. Stop it. Just stop. Child is giving very much Miss Cleo. Call me now. Oh, child is a whole fool. So Chris is telling his friend this foolishness. He said in his little interview, he said, well, maybe there's some 80-year-old war vet out there with an eagle tattoo that may be her soulmate. But she can go ask her psychic. I know that's right. Let me tell you something. I like this friend. I really do. Basically, the friend was saying Alyssa can go fly a kite. Moving forward. So he tells Chris if he went out with someone and they talked about their psychic, that it probably wasn't a match. Back with Alyssa, her mom is asking her, what are the core values that you guys don't seem to have in common? This girl gonna say, it's just his lack of respect for other people. Okay, I'm waiting for Ashton and them to jump out because we have to be on an episode of Punk'd. This is what this has to be. It has to be. Like, I really don't understand what we're doing right now. So then she said, and on Instagram, he said something about defunding the police. And we all know how I feel about the first responders. We know how I feel about them. Like if a crime happens, who's going to come help you if there's no police? Oh, okay, I got it now. It's crystal clear. Moving forward. So her mom asked her what she's going to need in order for them to work out. For him to have a full head and body transplant, honey, he has to literally be someone else for them to work out. So Alyssa gonna say, well, the bottom line is we need trust, respect, and good communication, none of which you know how to give. Okay, let's continue. She's like, I need to see it in order to feel any different. All this chick does is lie, so we can continue on. So her mom is like, yeah, he needs to prove himself. Mom, you and Toto sitting across from you? Yes, Toto, not Dorothy, okay? Y'all can click your heels 3 times and head the hell on back to Kansas because clearly you're living in Oz. Why would he have to prove anything to her? Why? Child, it's the enabling for me. Moving forward. Pastor Cal lets us know that he's going to visit each couple and do a little bit of a check-in. First stop is Jasmina and Michael. He's like, so how's it going? They're just smiling. The two of them just smiling, honey. Just looking. So he said, I want to be honest. I want y'all to be honest and open. So he asked about what happened on the honeymoon. And she said they had a disagreement. And off camera, Michael was getting really loud and she didn't like his tone. It turned her off. He was aggressive. He was loud. She said, he wasn't at a 10, but I know that it can get worse. So Pastor Cal said, so you think he can just go ballistic? She said, yeah. And, he said that he's had those problems in the past and even his family has said that he can be that way. So Michael said, no, I'm starting to feel like me telling you that kind of backfired on me. Did y'all hear what he just said? So I'm going to point out all the discrepancies up and through Michael and his line, okay? Michael literally just stated, me telling her that very thing that I have a problem with speaking aggressively to women in my tone, that she's now using it against him, okay? So she goes, Michael, every time we have an argument, you yell, and there's no cameras to show that side. Oh, hell no, honey. I do not do an aggressive man. I don't do that. No wonder she turned off. Okay, no wonder. I understand now. He said, I wasn't yelling. Now, I don't know if he was yelling, and I don't know if he was not. But the way he likes to lie, maybe he has a bit of a amnesia. Because it's like things happen and he will not remember that they literally just happened. Like something is wrong with him. So then she folds her arms and she looks at him and she goes, now, Michael, we are not about to do this. Okay. So she talking to him like a child. He lying like a child. She sound like somebody mama child. He already proven to be a liar. So, I have to believe her on this one. He's like, well, if you want to say I was speaking in a condescending tone, I'll give you that. She's like, oh, okay, well, if you want to do that. Okay, so now I'm a liar. She said, you've been aggressive. You've been yelling. And I'm trying not to get to that point. Okay. I'm really trying not to. She said, so I don't appreciate you saying you're not doing those things when you agreed with me that you've done those things. He's like, no, I've never said that. I've never said I was aggressive. You just said me saying that to her backfired on me. Michael, what is wrong with you? So then Pastor Cal said, okay. Let me say something. Listen to me. I want to talk about your communication. Honesty and transparency are key. And so is forgiveness, Jasmina. So then he asked Jasmina if she's willing to forgive and move on. Why does she have to automatically forgive him and forget? He needs to check himself before he wreck himself. Okay, shout out to Ice Cube. I don't understand why she just has to forgive him because he says he's sorry and there's nothing that's changing. He said, now I want to talk to you about talking at, talking with, and talking to, because there's a difference. He said, when you talk at her, it feels like, she's beneath you. Is that right, Jasmina? She said, yeah. He said, okay. When he does that, I want you to say to him, I am not your enemy. And then when she says that to you, I need you to correct it. Okay, let me just keep it real. I don't have time to look at you every time you start hooping and hollering saying I am not your enemy, because I will leave you in that house to speak to yourself. You will be talking to the back of my head because I will be on the I-10 by 10. I do not tolerate disrespect. Absolutely not. And I'm not going to sit here with Michael and do these exercises when he constantly berates me and talks to me aggressively. I am not about to yell, I am not your enemy, every time his Napoleon complex pops out. Absolutely not. Moving forward, Katina and Olajuwon. He gets to their place and there's an aroma of some food in the air. So Pastor Cal said, oh, it smells good in here. She like, I cooked some spaghetti and some garlic bread. Baby, she was so proud. Pastor Cal said, you threw down in here. Oh, child. Not the my first meals. That's what I call it. Every time somebody makes spaghetti and garlic bread, that's called my first meal. That is the first thing that everybody learns how to cook is spaghetti. But Katina, honey, at least you put some food on the table, honey. So you got on, girl, with your bad self and that bad wig. Moving forward. At least she's making an effort. So I got to give it to Katina. I like Katina. It's something about her that's endearing, but sometimes she acts like she's not all there. But I do like Katina. I do like her. She's like, well, you know, that's a requirement, Pastor Cal. I got to cook. So Pastor Cal looked at Olajuwon and he was like, well, that wasn't a requirement when we first met. Olajuwon gonna say, well, that's very important to me. Pastor Cal said, yes, 20 or 30 years ago, but I don't want you to be stuck in a time warp. Well, honey, judging from those curtains, he's definitely in a time warp. I hope she's not losing herself in this cooking and cleaning, because that is not all a wife does. He does too much at all times, like requiring all these things, and I don't see what you're giving besides all this fluff. You're speaking, but what exactly are you giving? Like, I just don't understand it. So she starts to say something, and Pastor Cal said, listen, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to throw him under the bus, because I saw that horseback riding tape, and I was like, why is he talking to her like that? So then he asked if Olajuwon valued her, and he was like, yeah, she knows that. I mean, I tell her that all the time. So then he asked if they had been intimate, and they said no. Olajuwon said, well, yeah, that was my decision, because, like, what if it doesn't work? Now, Pastor Cal was saying something else, but I actually appreciate the fact that they're not rushing into that. Maybe that's just me. Pastor Cal was like, well, if you don't do that, then she may think that you don't find her attractive. She's like, yeah, I feel that way. Really? Y'all had plenty of time on the honeymoon when he was rubbing your feet and whatnot, and you was crying after y'all had the obligatory roses. I am so confused. Like, who knew it was Isaac holding out? So he asked how O responded to that. And he said, you know, I think she's crazy because I think she's beautiful. Here go Pastor Cal. Look, y'all ain't got to do it. I mean, I got my own thing. I ain't telling y'all got to do it. Honey, Pastor Cal be doing TikToks and everything, honey. He like, look, set yourself off, go to Pound Town if you want. That ain't got nothing to do with me. He said, y'all go ahead and do y'all. I'm going to do me. But by the power vested in me, I now pronounce y'all to be able to get it popping. I hate when they rush them into soul ties. They will do it when the time is right. Olajuwon looked like he got a tie waiting to attach. Oh, absolutely not. Lindsay and Mark. It's awkward, honey. They're having an awkward AF conversation. Basically, they're not saying anything to each other. She finally speaks and says that she's having a hard time with him because he's giving Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. She sees some red flags. He's like, I see red flags too. Well, baby, that pissed her off. She's like, I need a second. Don't say anything to me. Go with the cats. Just move. Get out of my face. I need a moment. Ooh, child. Noi and Steve. Pastor Cal is there to visit. Steve is telling him how good things are going so far. And he said, okay, so what have you guys talked about? And Noi said, you know, we talked about children. I want 3 and he wants 2. He said, you know, I just feel like we should just play it by ear. I mean, what if the child has special needs, or what if we don't have the energy? Steve was giving very good reasons behind not wanting to have more than 2 children, or just basically playing it by ear. She's like, well, yeah, you know, it's a lot of things I'm going to compromise on, but not 3 kids. Ma'am, your man is a committed nomad. Like, what if you're physically unable to have children? You don't get to choose the number of children that you have. Like, I just don't understand why you're so dead set on 3 kids. She feels like she can't bend when it comes to having 3 kids. Do you know how much work children are? He don't even work right now. So why would you want to put your foot down with 3 kids? So Pastor Cal is like, well, you have to tell me more about this. She said, you know, everyone in my family had 3 kids and I just think it looks good. I just think it's good. It's the perfect number. Girl, okay. Noi is annoying me. 3 kids, girl, what? Every family is different. So Pastor Cal is asking about the what ifs. So then he asked about the finances. She said, we talked about how expensive kids are. And she said, and that's scary for me as well. And I don't want my kids to have to worry about money. Growing up in a refugee camp, it really affected her. And she only had 2 shirts growing up. Okay, listen to what you're saying though, Noi. If you had a struggle growing up and financially you were strapped, right now Steve is not working. He has the capability to make money, but he's not working. When he starts to work, he wants to do something that he's passionate about and whatnot, or whatever he's saying. Well, why would you want to have 3 kids and have them struggle like you had to struggle? Girl, okay. She said because of her upbringing, she doesn't want her kids to worry about money, which is why Steve needs to do whatever he likes that will financially secure their future. Honey, he got to do something. He has to do something. I totally understand why she's so upset and nervous about that, because she never wants to go back to that. I understand that. But that's also why you need to be more flexible on the amount of children that you have. So Steve said that he's going to be able to, make money doing photography and all these other types of things. And she's like, yeah, I hear ya, but I need to see it. So Pastor Cal said, giving her history, she needs a plan. She needs to know that you're going to be able to provide for her. Steve, stop being lazy. Okay, you're being lazy. And then let me tell y'all why I say lazy. I understand that he can freelance. I know that. I'm not taking that from him. But start the freelancing. He don't even want to do that. Child, that is lazy. You have to think about you and someone else now. He's like, yeah, I know that I'm married now and I have to make sure she's happy. But if I work full time, then I'm not going to be able to create. And I don't know if I'm willing to make those sacrifices. Well, you knew that you were taking a wife, which meant providing. You can be creative on the weekends. Let me tell y'all something. This YouTube is in addition to. There's a way to do things that you enjoy, but now you have a different set of responsibilities. Like, child, anywho, I ain't got time to play with Steve and Noi. They'll figure it out. Mark and Lindsay, day 10 of marriage. Pastor Cal goes to visit Mark and Lindsay. Lindsay's out on the balcony, honey, because she got a little attitude. Mark said the way Lindsay says things turns him off. It's condescending. So Pastor Cal asks how things are going. She starts talking about how she feels things are meant to be and she's only trying to help Mark. And she said he went from all in to nothing at all. And she is quite frankly offended and furious with him. That man's whole life has changed suddenly, Lindsay. He was not expecting to have to depend on you. It's different when you get married at first sight and then he has his place and you have your place and then you have the shared apartment. He literally is like, it's out. Okay. And now he has to depend on you for everything. And that's foreign to him. So just show him a little bit of grace, girl. So Pastor Cal said, so I know what this is with you, Mark. You're afraid to say things. You're afraid to say things to her. Okay. Fear and love cannot coexist. I'm not going to be married to someone I'm fearful of speaking to. Not gonna work. So Mark starts to tell his side. He said he was feeling good at the wedding and then on the wedding night, but on the plane, he didn't like that side of her. Yet she continued to do it. And then there was another altercation and he didn't like that side. So then Mark gets all choked up because he told her that he needs to go slow. He said, after all that, I just felt differently and I wanted to express that to her. And he said, I tried to do that in a respectable way. Basically, he's non-confrontational, and when she pops off, it makes him withdraw. That's what's happening. So he said sex is great, but if I'm not feeling like myself, then I can't have sex. So Pastor Cal asked how it feels to hear him say that he's afraid to express himself. She gonna say, I never felt like I gave him a reason to feel that way. Pastor Cal said, well, Lindsay, I can see what he is saying. She's like, I don't know what he said. It was a run-on sentence. That dismissive attitude is not helping him want to open up to you, girl. You think he gonna want to be Mark the Shark when you're dismissing exactly what he's saying? So then Pastor Cal said, you talk sometimes without filters and you wear that as a badge of honor, but it's not. Okay, it's really not. Lindsay, you are a lot. You're a lot to watch even through the screen, so I can only imagine what Mark is experiencing. So Pastor Cal tells Mark to tell her what he needs. He said, I need you to let me take things at my own pace. I need you to let me be me. So Pastor Cal is trying to explain to her how Mark feels, but of course Lindsay cannot see it. These two need to figure it out. Lindsay is controlling and overbearing, and Mark is frightened and overwhelmed. I know Lindsay means well, but she has to reel it in, okay? I commend her for pulling herself up by the bootstraps, going in with the hazmat suit of it all to help him retrieve his things from the bugs. But Lindsay, bring it down just a notch. Moving forward, Alyssa and Chris. It's my decision day. So she shows up to the apartment. Child, I hope the cameras are rolling at all times, okay? And he was like, so how was your ride in? She was like, oh, it's a little bit of traffic, but everything's fine. He's like, oh, okay, well, Pastor Cal should be here any moment. As soon as Alyssa drops her purse, Pastor Cal shows up just in time. So he sits down. He's like, how are you? So he's asking them to assess their marriage. So Chris said, from the wedding night, she has had no interest in being married to me. She used gypped, robbed, which is crazy to me because you are the one that's been gypped, hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray. Honey, all of that was all you were experiencing. So Alyssa gears up for today's lies. And she's like, when I first saw him, I said he's not my physical type. Like I could have walked away then, but I did not. You want a cookie for a stain for the free vacation to Puerto Rico? Girl, shut up. She's like, let's just see why we were matched. That's what I was thinking. She's like, I got nervous hearing things from his family. So Pastor Cal said, okay. Did you talk about that with him? She said no, because, I just felt like I was just so much happening all at once. It just kept happening. And I kept getting pushed down in the ocean by a cinder block. Like I couldn't get out. Well, if you drowned, why do I keep seeing you on my screen? Honey, what ocean was it? Why do you keep coming back? Child, it's like a scary movie. She's like, I came in today, seeing what we can do. Translation. I saw the apartment and wanted to see if I could convince him to let me stay here next week. And that's exactly what she means. She said, I felt like when we went paddleboarding, we had fun. It was a good thing when we did tennis. Girl, not the tennis match where you saw him pointing aggressively. Is it that tennis match? Child, I know she don't know that they've been watching this footage. Please spare us, honey, and just go away. So Pastor Cal looking at her like, girl, anyway. He said, hold up, dear. Hold up. Baby, Pastor Cal has had enough. He said the wedding night, you didn't even want to go to the suite. I know that's right, Pastor Cal. Calvin, call her out. He said, you didn't want to go to the suite. She's like, yeah. He said, all that you were doing isn't marriage. From his perspective, you're already showing patterns of not wanting to be around him. She's like, okay, well, there are several reasons, why I didn't want to. The first one is we both have big dogs. The second one is I'm allergic to dogs. Oh, okay, it's Eric from season 12 again, saying he was allergic to Virginia's cat. Meanwhile, he was on a picture with that ex, full of feline fur. Okay. I don't understand how you're allergic to dogs, yet you rescue dogs. Girl, shut your pie hole. Just shut it up. She's like, I'm not allergic to my dog Penelope because I've been around her for like 10 years. So Pastor Cal is looking like, this crazy heifer. Pastor Cal is looking like, oh my God. So she said, I've just been trying to look for the positive. Girl. Okay. The things that she says. So Pastor Cal tells her that they did everything. They went through all of the avenues and those two matched up. See, that's why I couldn't do an experiment like this. She's like, well, I would like to see how we can move forward. So then she looks at him and starts to regurgitate the BS. And she's like, I just came here to stop the pattern and see how we can move forward. So Pastor Cal said, so how do you want to move forward, Chris? Chris said, well, for me, this is my decision day. Baby, the music changed. Doom, 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 doom. I was like, oh, not the dramatic music. Honey, the music is changing and everything. He said, so I want a divorce. Pastor Cal said, you want a divorce? Chris said, yes, I want a divorce. Chris, I am so proud of you. The fact that you were so poised and put together and have been so gracious in this entire process. I'm so proud of you. Shout out to Drake. She did everything she could to humiliate and emasculate you. And you said not any longer. I know that's right. So she starts crying. Girl, what are you crying for? She's like, I'm sorry. Pastor Cal was like, let him use you. She was like, I just feel like I worked so hard to get here. Get where? To the apartment? The only thing you worked hard to do was get through traffic to get to this shared apartment. Girl, shut up. She's like, I just never thought that this would be the outcome. Okay, you ignored the man for weeks. You basically said he was aggressive and you hated him. Yet you never thought that this would be the outcome. Well, pin a rose on your nose. Child, she needs some prescription medication, honey, because this is ridiculous. So Pastor Cal said, when you say this, like, what are you talking about? She's like, I just never thought like the arguments and the disrespect. Chris said, listen, it went from taking it slow to chasing someone that does not want to be chased. She's like, if I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't. All of a sudden, the tears dried up. She's like, I had chances to go home and I didn't. And I told you that. And everyone knows it. Ooh, not if Suck It Up Buttercup were a person. Chris said, I think there are a lot of reasons to still be here, but marriage is definitely not one of them. Exactly. She just wanted to be on TV and hang out, period. She's like, I didn't come here to be on TV. You saying that triggers me because it's not true. Well, Alyssa, you're a good person, so I'm sure you'll find another. Not. Moving forward. Chris said, bottom line is we both need to be happy, so divorce it is. It's not what either of us wanted. Well, it is what she wanted, but that's neither here nor there. Pastor Cal said, well, the road ends here. I know that's right, Pastor Cal. This is the first time I have not seen him try to talk someone into staying together. He sees that Chris deserves better, and he is allowing him to withdraw from this process. And baby, I love to see it. So Pastor Cal gets up and leaves, right? And she's like, well, I guess there's nothing else to say. He said, well, I wish you the best. She's like, I'm just sad about the whole situation. I just want respect, and I'm a good person. It upsets me that he's like trying to make me look otherwise. Well, Aretha Franklin, RESPECT, finds out what it means to me. It means absolutely nothing because you're lying and the truth ain't in you, honey. So kick rocks and don't come around here no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Period. You did a pretty good job at setting yourself up and letting the world know that this is the type of person that you are. Baby, Chris put on his disc golf hoodie, left his ring on the counter, and walked into his destiny. Chris, I say this to you. I'm speaking directly to you, honey. I wish you all the best. I applaud you for standing up for yourself. And I know that whoever is watching this, she will come to you, and it will be authentic, it will be real, and it will be the love that you deserve. As for you, Alyssa, ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch is dead, the witch is dead. And that was the end of the episode. Child, y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Baby, it was some twists and turns all up and through. Who knew that Olajuwon was holding the cakes? Who knew that Katina wasn't going to change that wig? Who knew that Michael was probably living with that ex, honey, and he ain't fooling me? Because why are you hiding the fact that you live with two women? And who knew that Jasmina was going to want to go home and watch K-dramas? Child, I will catch y'all in the next one. We are going to have a live. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow night or if it's going to be Sunday night. But honey, we're going to get together and discuss all things Married at First Sight. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.